Hello everyone, this is Crota coming at you, giving you now game number 2 in the series between WFZ and Yumiko. You see WFZ spawning once more as the red, is it red? Yeah, red undead on the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we have Yumiko spawning as the orange human on the bottom right hand side of the map. This is Ancient Isle as the players exchange good luck, good game, good luck. And we'll see what's going to be happening here as we are most likely... well, I'm not sure if we're actually going to be looking at a Mountain King or an Archmage first. And it looks like it will be your typical Archmage as opposed to the Mountain King that we saw in game number 1. Meanwhile, WFZ opening up with the Tomb of Relics. The graveyard is a little bit delayed. So it looks like the Death Knight will just be venturing forth by himself, picking up a Rod of Necromancy and now trying to shut down this Archmage from being able to do all too much. Now, Archmage is a typical later game hero, as you need an army in order for the Archmage to really be that much more powerful. The Archmage with that Brilliance aura is able to really do a lot of damage and support all the additional casters. Now the question is, what type of casters are we going to be looking at? Are we perhaps going to be looking at Sorceress? Probably not. Maybe Priest and Spellbreakers, as you do not want to give another target for those destroyers to devour magic. Water Elemental is more than enough, as we are now looking at the Altar of Kings here, farm being placed down here, and it looks like we are still training, or we should be training up more and more peasants still to eventually set up an expansion. Archmage now venturing forth to try and put a bit of pressure, and WFZ knows that he cannot afford to fight and lose a skeletal minion right now. As soon as that Archmage gets to level 2, the Brilliance Aura and the Water Elementals will be coming very, very quickly, and he cannot afford to let that happen. We are seeing that 30 over 30 supply, additional peasants were trained, a little bit of an exchange going back and forth. As you can see, the skeletal minion venturing forth here. Oh, this is going to be a very, very close call. Can the Archmage get a final blow off onto it? Yes, it does. There is now level 2. 200 experience right on the dot, and that's exactly what WFZ didn't want to see. Every second that you see now before the Archmage kills another unit is pretty much another point of mana that WFZ will need to deal with on that Archmage. That is going to become a rather big problem here. Another skeletal minion now making its way over, and it looks like we are still exchanging back and forth. Footmen do not have the Fen, as skeletal minion may get taken down right there. Is it going to get attacked? Yes, it does, and the Archmage does get a little bit more experience once more. All right, Footmen, Militia, Skeletal Minions, a whole bunch of units all across the board. Death Knight now here to try and steal a bit of experience, and doing a good job doing exactly that. However, so much damage is being spread across the board. Death Knight now looking to get a Death Coil off on that Null Overseer. One Footman will get taken down. Skeletal Minion could get taken down there, as the Water Elemental now attempting to take down this Null Overseer here. Alright, Archmage will finish off this Null Overseer. Talisman of Evasion, a very big item that needs to get picked up. Death Coil onto a Peasant, unable to get inside the gold mine in time, as the Death Knight now is at level 2. Should be grabbing Unholy Aura, and oh, loses a Crypt Fiend there. Archmage now very, very close to level 3 indeed, and the Archmage is going to come back and be an even bigger problem. Water Elemental being brought over, and it looks like Yumiko is gonna go ahead and get to level 3 on this on this Archmage without much of any effort there. There's level 3, already back up to 136 mana, as the Death Knight now sits at level 2, one level behind, but is currently winning the tech race and should be able to perhaps get that Slaughterhouse up momentarily. Now, the Archmage looking pretty strong right here, as we're looking at off to the north, Death Knight venturing forth, even though the Death Knight is relatively low on hit points, still wanting to take down this expansion. It looks like the Archmage, yes, does end up picking up Boots of Speed, a very, very nice item, be able to slip through there. Archmage is looking for where that Death Knight could possibly be, as the Death Knight now venturing in. All right, Archmage wanders across the wrong path there, taking a little bit of bystander damage, and now the Archmage no longer has that Claws of Attack +6, so the damage from those fireballs really took the edge off of them. That was about a 20% damage bonus on that Archmage. Very, very heavy indeed. instead now has Boots of Speed. And this is one of those things where I really don't understand. Do you really need that additional 60, 70 gold, or would you rather wait until you have more items and you need to free up a slot? That Archmage could have dealt a little bit more damage. But then again, opportunity cost is opportunity cost. Archmage now looking to finish off this 5-4-4 creep camp. Meanwhile, the Death Knight and the Crypt Fiends are off to the north here. There is one footman, and that one footman is going to have better days as the Crypt Fiend's going to be able to take that down. No takedown there. The footman still at 107 hit points, out of Death Coil range as well, as the Archmage now using that very long fireball attack to make sure that the Death Knight cannot venture forth. Lich has been added. Halls of the Dead and not being upgraded to Black Citadel yet. Instead, we are staying at tier 2 a little bit longer, getting up obsidian statues, and perhaps the Crypt Fiend and the Death Knight and the Lich want to put pressure at this point. This could work out fairly well, especially if Yumiko does not yet defend. But no, defend is being researched, as we are now looking at a bit of damage being absorbed by these units here. Now, the Death Knight needs to be extremely careful. He wants to try and take down some of these towers, but the towers are being constructed without much of a problem. Death Coil onto the Crypt Fiend for that save, as WFZ seems a little bit lost and confused. He doesn't quite have the same game plan and strategy that you would normally see, and I think in this game he just seems a little bit off. All right, Crypt Fiend now trying to get away. Looks like he'll be able to head back off to the north here. Meanwhile, the Death Knight now trying to engage against all these footmen, but it does in fact have defend. All right, there is a bit of Frost Nova there, splitting up a bit of that damage. Lich now getting healed up once more, as the Death Knight may try to come in with a Death Coil. No, there is a quick run in exchange, and now another low hit point footman. So Yumiko actually taking a good chunk out of this army, using the Lich's Frost Nova as the main engagement tactic. All right, one guard tower is now down. As it was being constructed, another one will get up though, and a third one may get up as well, as it does not look good. Death Knight just outside of range of that arcane tower, not losing mana. Meanwhile, the Lich is there as well. It looks like a water elemental may get taken down, and the Death Knight is... Oh, Death Knight gets a Death Coil off to save a Crypt Fiend once again. All right, footman now trying to chase desperately, but a very low hit point footman venturing forth. Not quite sure why he's chasing, especially while defend was still on, as we're looking at the remaining footmen now trying to run through. Yumiko could end up losing another footman here. Why aren't they attacking that footman? That footman pretty much in a very, very unorthodox spot, in a bad spot, as the Lich now just engaging and attempting to take down some of these peasants. All right, Lich is pretty much going to get back up to 125 mana here. Could attempt to take down things in just a second. There's that Lich there. Are we going to perhaps get a Frost Nova? Death Knight could come in with a Death Coil. Arcane Tower now hitting the Lich. Lich did not want to be there, as we now see an Obsidian statue with Essence of Mana as well. Both sides getting in some heals, getting in some life, as the footmen are now trying to turn around to engage. There's the footman with defend once more, and the sheer number of guard towers may end up being the problem. All right, is the Death Knight? Why is the Death Knight backing off? That Crypt Fiend needs to get healed, and it barely survives, down to 200 or down to 3 hit points before that Death Coil comes in with the save. All right, Archmage now is trying to pick up some additional items there, as the Acolyte now on the move across. Not quite sure what the Acolyte is here for. Oh, to repair the Obsidian statues, obviously. And the Obsidian statues are being used more like a siege unit, being able to engage with under the protection of these Obsidian statues. All right, back over here, you can see that this poor Acolyte taking a fair bit of damage needs to back off. A couple of low hit point footmen just turn around for that quick kill. There goes one footman there. Obsidian statues could easily take down another, and it looks like that footman will get taken down once more. Lich now at level 2. Meanwhile, the Death Knight is being forced to fight inside his base. He has one Obsidian statue on his side, as we are at Black Citadel. Orb of Corruption has been picked up by that Death Knight, as we're looking at a bit of a chase here. Death Knight still sitting at level 2. Here comes the attack. Here comes the other way. The footman may get us around here. That might be a problem, as we're looking at just slowly pecking away at this town hall. All right, destroyers are now up in the air, so this could turn into a very, very ugly, bad fight here in just a moment. If the destroyer shows up, destroyer does not have mana, but is going to be able to deal a lot of damage fairly quickly. Mountain King coming in with a Stormbolt, and the destroyer just going after the footman here, perhaps going to be able to take that down. There goes a little bit of damage as the obsidian statue now trying to get away. All right, Destroyer could easily devour magic on that water elemental. Just devour it, please. Please devour it. No, not going to devour it. Apparently doesn't want the extra hit points there for some strange reason, as the Lich now currently maxed out on mana, not going to be able to do very much of anything. Arcane Tower draining the mana off of that Lich. The Lich really needs to back off. WFZ not paying attention there. Meanwhile, microing a Destroyer farther away. Lich now finally backs off, but went from 345 mana down to 160. A bit of a mistake. All right, WFZ making more mistakes than I am used to seeing him make so far in this game. The Destroyer, or Lich, now comes in with the Frost Nova, attempting to take down one peasant. There goes one peasant. May try to go after more. He does have that Orb of Corruption, so able to deal a good bit of damage to those units. Meanwhile, Destroyers are just wandering around here, able to devour magic and then perhaps run away to fight another day still. As the meat wagon now running the south. WFZ doing a little bit of bait and switch there in order to sneak a meat wagon into this here. All right, meat wagon now attacking at this town hall. Perhaps attacking ground against those units there would actually be a very, very safe call. Meanwhile, Mountain King attempting to take down the Null Overseer as the town hall now taking a lot more damage than it would appear. More peasants being brought over to massively repair. Goblin Zeppelin now being picked up as well as the meat wagon doing a great job of just pecking apart this town hall here. There goes another peasant, and it looks like Yumiko is going to end up losing this expansion. Meat wagon maybe a little bit later than I would have liked it, but still doing a fair amount of damage as the Destroyer in the air destroying many of these poor footmen here. All right, we're going to be looking at a bit of a fight here. Mountain King now coming in. Death Knight, what's happening? All right, level 3 on the Death Knight. Are we going to see a Stormbolt on that Lich? Not sure what's going on. And there is Frost Armor. Stormbolt onto the Crypt Fiend. And the Crypt Fiend now in serious trouble. Death Coil to try and get the save as Frost Armor now burrow. Do we have Dust of Appearance? It looks like we do have Dust of Appearance for that burrow as the Death Knight now just finishing off a lot of units. Militia attempting to take down units here. Lich now just fighting back the other way, and the Lich is going to be dealing so much damage across the board. Destroyers destroying the Water Elementals here as well. And devouring magic. Lich now sitting at level 3, going to be able to take down the footman, and WFZ is just absolutely destroying this army. The Destroyers, the Water Elementals, all of them are just falling apart here. Knights, however, added by Yumiko, but Yumiko does not have animal war training on those units. All right, let's take a look. Goblin Zeppelin needs to be repaired. Meat Wagon is now being thrown back down. Obsidian Statue being added as well. Death Knight getting some extra mana, and what is that Goblin Zeppelin doing except getting destroyed once more? A very big mistake there. All right, Knights now looking to push through. There's a little bit of focus fire. Holy Light, as we're looking at an old school tri-hero combination coming in from Yumiko. Yumiko still holding on to this expansion, constantly repairing it, getting gold off of it. Not quite sure if the juice is worth the squeeze on this particular expansion, but it looks like it's still doing a great job so far. Destroyers, you need more of them in order to fight back here. There are a lot of Knights as we are now looking at a Stormbolt onto the Crypt Fiend. Continuing this fight here off to the north, it looks like the Destroyer is going to chase after the Mountain King. Mountain King now in a desperate run. Meat Wagons now trying to get away as well as the Crypt Fiends are now running back. What is happening here? As we see a quick turnaround, Paladin taking a lot of damage, and is it gonna end up falling here? It looks like the Paladin down to 200 some odd hit points. There's the Death Coil, and the Paladin now down to 73 hit points. Death Knight is going to finish off his former self as the Death Knight now comes in for the final blow. There you go. Paladin falls at level 1. But where did the Meat Wagons go? Did the Meat Wagons make it back to base? Yes, they did, but without that Goblin Zeppelin, they're not going to be able to re-engage all that quickly. WFZ needs to somehow get Frost Armor onto more of these Crypt Fiends here and add that additional bit of armor. Really reduces or extends their life. Crypt Fiends are upgraded 1-0. Meanwhile, the Meat Wagons and the Destroyers are just working together here. Not upgraded are those Meat Wagons, as we are looking at 67 over 70 compared to 70 over 72. Yumiko still has a bit of a total supply advantage, but then again, he also has about 10 to 12 more workers than his opponent. All right, Destroyer having a very bad day there. Water Elemental still right there. Destroyer gonna continue to enjoy a bit of mana. Meat Wagons now making their way back down the far side, and if this is the second time WFZ purposely walked around in a strange pattern for that unit. All right, we are looking at the burrowed Crypt Fiend now continuing this fight here as are we going to get more Frost Armor? That is a big question. Meanwhile, the Meat Wagons are now coming back in from the south as there is a burrowed Crypt Fiend here, and these Meat Wagons need to get in some extra damage. They are not currently being really well taken care of, and the Knights may actually run into them. Oh, this is going to be bad. Taking some free damage. WFZ in trouble here. Yumiko has this Sentry Ward, and that Sentry Ward is definitely worth its weight. As you can see, the fight now going down. There it goes. Staff of Sanctuary saving a Knight. And now another burrowed Crypt Fiend. Mountain King sitting at level 2. And the MVP of this fight may actually be the Sentry Ward, which is constantly preventing the Crypt Fiends from regenerating their hit points. Another Crypt Fiend bites the dust there as the Archmage, surrounded by Knights, Mountain King, and Paladin, are still working together. All right, Meat Wagons off to the north, desperately trying to take this down here. It looks like another peasant will get taken down. More peasants still going to get taken down there as the Meat Wagons are now going to be attacked from the north. All right, Destroyers getting some easy shots onto those Knights. Units are now coming back the other way. Frost Armor not going to be in time as the Destroyers need to fight back here. Another Meat Wagon going to get destroyed here, and now it is just Crypt Fiends against Knights, but the Death Knight, it may be a bit too much as the Destroyers are still tearing into many of these units. Lich now in a little bit of trouble. That's a Death Coil for the save. Mountain King, Lich still trying to figure out this next fight as there is a Scroll of Town Portal and all the units will be running away. All right, there's going to be a small window of opportunity to try to actually get some damage here, perhaps taking down some of the key buildings, and the Crypt Fiends are now running straight forward to those guard towers. Death Coil saves a Crypt Fiend there. Meanwhile, Destroyer needs to back off. Destroyer almost falls here. Abominations now being added. More Crypt Fiends being added as well, as we still don't see more units coming in from the bottom. All right, another big surprise is we do not see Disease Cloud. Disease Cloud would pretty much allows undead armies to win out wars of attrition pretty quickly, just because they take so much damage over time. All right, a big Frost Nova there. Lich still getting in a bit of damage, takes down another peasant there, and the Lich is still trying to eat away. There goes another 2 peasants, and that Lich has just been eating peasants for breakfast. Or is it breakfast? I guess he's eating peasants for dinner, since it is getting closer into the evening time. Crypt Fiends now still trying to finish things off here. And what is really happening? Yumiko still getting a good amount of... WFZ actually losing mana. Lich, what are you doing? Get back. You do not want to be engaging right there. As the flying machines are now out. Quick webs getting them taken down as the Mountain King. Oh, Disease Cloud. So much Disease Cloud as the units are now backing up. Death Coil, Holy Light tries to finish off a unit. Slow across so many units here. Destroyers absolutely taking down the Knights, but there are flying machines as well. We need to see more webs in order to take down those flying machines. Mountain King with a potion of invulnerability now going after some of the units here. Holy Light, it looks like a Knight will get saved with the Staff of Sanctuary once more, and Yumiko is doing a good job just making sure he is doing the best he can with what he's got. Yumiko, low hit point Knight, able to come back the other way. Are we going to perhaps see more Devour Magic? Yes, we are. The Destroyers are now backing the other way again. It looks like one Knight will get taken down. There goes another Knight. The Flying Machine still getting destroyed as the Destroyers, 3 of them, have been able to constantly Devour Magic and take out all of those units. However, the Lich has fallen at level 4, and with the fall of the level 4 Lich, things are going to go from bad to worse. That Lich, much more potent than its typical sight would show, as the Crypt Fiends need to get some ensnares off. All right, are we going to get some ensnares off onto those flying machines? Yes, we are. There goes one flying machine. There goes another. However, the Knights are now coming back over, and we are still going into a big engagement here. Knights trying to engage Stormbolt onto a Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend now gets taken down. Crypt Fiend's continuing the fight here. Scroll of Town Portal now being used in order to try and turn around. Lich, low on hit points, needs to get close enough, and does get close enough for the Scroll of Town Portal back. But that Lich resurrected at the tavern, very expensive, and now the obsidian statues will have to work overtime to replenish those hit points and that mana. Death Knight sitting at level 4. Lich sitting at level 4. No third hero for the Undead. Meanwhile, Yumiko now taking this opportunity to do a bit of creeping. Paladin now trying to get to level 3 by himself. Has enough of an army to really back him up in this endeavor, and not going to have any real big issue. All right, Book of the Dead. That is quickly going to get sold, as Devour Magic is going to just be too much for that, as we're now looking at a little bit of creeping on the other side here. All right, Death Knight sitting at level 5. Lich purposely coming over to make sure that, or the Death Knight backing off to make sure that he does not steal any experience. Pit Lord now being added, and WFZ using the Howl of Terror tactic in order to devour the magic so that the destroyers end up dealing even more damage. Back down over here, Water Elemental, oh, by his lonesome self. Oh, what are we going to see here? Lich taking a little bit of damage. There's the Howl of Terror. Are we going to see enough Crypt Fiends to really deal with those Flying Machines? All right, the destroyers now trying to engage here, and oh, you see a whole bunch of illusions now down on the field. Destroyers are going to be able to devour that magic, heal up, and then turn around and deal damage back. However, the Lich down to 155 hit points and gets taken down. Howl of Terror once more. Lich gone. Pit Lord is now in trouble as he is surrounded, and the Death Coil does go down. However, WFZ still on the run. Mountain King out of mana, not able to do all that much here. Archmage is sitting at level 4, and we are now turning around, going back the other way. Pit Lord still has a good bit of hit points, now backing away as the Mountain King now trying to engage. Mountain King up to 75 mana. Wait for the Stormbolt. No Stormbolt, as the units are once more on the run. Obsidian Statues now backing off, relatively low on hit points, mana. The Destroyers are still all together there, and the Pit Lord sitting at level 1 needs to get a bit more experience. Knights, Animor War Training has been completed. Level 2 armor upgrades for a total of 35% damage reduction. Very, very high damage reduction. Death Knight still sitting at level 5. Perhaps is going to try and take down the Forest Troll Warlord here. Has the right units. And are we going to see a Howl of Terror? We should see a Howl of Terror. The Death Knight really shouldn't be here, as the Pit Lord really could get to closer to level 2, if not level 3. All right, Murloc Nightcrawler going to get taken down. Destroyers finishing off the remaining units, as the Paladin, Mountain King, Archmage now heading over to the bottom left corner. Knights attempting to take down the Null Brutes left off over here. Lich getting resurrected the old-fashioned way, and it is going to be a very, very slow res, as we are now out of gold on the main base. Out of gold on the main base. There is only one other expansion location on this map that you have to be concerned about. So what you see with WFZ is what you're gonna get. 54 over 60 compared to 64 over 78. However, as I mentioned earlier, the supply of the army is about the same because of the additional workers. Flying Machine attempting to take down a Red Drake here. Archmage still taking a little bit of poison damage from that disease, and you can see all of that there. All right, is it 0? No, still only 0-2 upgrades on those Knights, as the Knights now making their way over here. All right, Pit Lord. It looks like the Pit Lord is gonna be denied level 3 because of the Death Knight stealing some of that experience. Yeah, talk about denying. That is just an insult right there. 1 experience away. And we're going to be looking at, oh, are we going to perhaps get some easy kills? There is some easy free damage. Damage being dealt back, and there goes a level 3 Pit Lord now. Is it going to be Howl of Terror or Rain of Fire? That is the big question, as the Destroyers can now easily go after perhaps some of those Flying Machines. However, Flying Machines do have flak cannons. Flak cannons do deal splash damage, as we see one poor Knight getting sent all the way back home. Staff of Sanctuary now becoming a very critical item in this matchup as well. Death Knight, Lich now finally back out on the field. An expansion could be coming in. WFZ seen at 54 over 60. Has 2 additional ghouls. Has 1 meat wagon that's not doing anything. Not quite sure why it isn't staying close by, as every creep on the map has been taken out. Lich sitting at level 4, Death Knight sitting at level 5, Paladin sitting at 4, Mountain King sitting at 3, and I believe the Archmage is sitting at, only 4 on the Archmage, so the Archmage is a little bit behind there. All right, are we going to be unsummoning some buildings? If we're not unsummoning buildings, why are you... How much does it take to haunt a gold mine? I believe it's more than 215 gold, so... Alright, we'll see what comes of this. Alright, a little bit of Devour Magic, and oh, the Destroyer now in a little bit of trouble. Are we going to get a Howl of Terror? Wow, a big Howl of Terror there. But the Flying Machines, just the Flak Cannons, going to be destroying all of these units. The Knights running past. The Destroyers now up in the air, attempting to trying to take down the Flying Machines. Who wins out in this fight? It is going to be a battle of numbers to see who comes out ahead. WFZ gonna end up losing a Destroyer here unless he Death Coils it. No, does not do it in time. Holy Light saves a unit there as the Pit Lord now gonna get taken down. It looks like, yes, he will get taken down there. Death Knight did not get the Death Coil off in time as the Paladin with the Divine Shield doing a lot. All right, Scroll of Healing used. All right, Staff of Sanctuary saves a very, very low hit point unit there as the WFZ does have that Book of the Dead summoning more units. All right, let's see what's going to happen. Is that Paladin going to get taken down? Our units are taking a bit of damage. Death Knight now up in the front. Paladin is in a bit of trouble. Did he staff the... Oh, he staffed the Sanctuary, the Paladin. Paladin now back home as the Destroyers should perhaps take down that Flying Machine pretty quickly. Mountain King now in trouble. Is the Mountain King going to be able to make it back home? I don't believe so. Death Knight can really chase down this Mountain King down to 450 hit points, and it looks like it will be able to make it back. All right, Paladin currently stunned. All right, and let's go ahead and take a look at this. Flying Machines all working together here. Stormbolt onto the Lich. Lich is in a little bit of trouble. Needs a Death Coil and needs it in a hurry. Gets the Death Coil just in time. Lich now fighting and turning back around, and it looks like the Flying Machines are just going to be too much as the Flying Machines vastly outnumber the Destroyers, and without that, the Knights are going to go to town on the Crypt Fiends, and that is going to be it. Archmage at level 5 is going to take down a level 5 Death Knight, and that is going to be the game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Resource, the real big difference in this fight.